Okay, so I want to take a second and tell this baby's birth story. So, this is our 10th baby, and we did not know the gender. So, we were going to be so surprised, and we both thought that we were having a boy, and obviously, we're having a girl, and we had a girl, and I expected it to be this big moment where it was like, it's a girl, or it's, but it wasn't like that. We were induced, and I've been induced many other times. This was actually our seventh induction, and I love being induced. I love the scheduling of it. I love that I'm at the hospital before I start active labor. There's just so many things that I love about being induced. And I'm still glad that I was induced for her because of what happened. So here's what happened. We were told to get here at 5 a.m. and so we did. And when we got here, there was a lot of other people having babies at the same time. And so we waited for a little bit, and then things kind of got started. And Lucas was downstairs doing a few cases. Most of you know, but my husband is a surgeon. And so he was downstairs doing some cases, which he normally does whenever we are induced, because we know that things like don't get started right away. It's not like you get to the hospital and the baby's here right away. There's, the paperwork, and then they start the epidural, and things get started, and they break your water, and that takes several hours usually. And so he was downstairs doing some cases, and I was in my room just resting, and they came and did my epidural. They started Pitocin at a low level, and my blood pressure for some reason was like higher than it normally is. Normally I have a low blood pressure. My blood pressure is normally low, like lower, like 110 over 60 or 70, but it was like up in like 140 over 90, 130 over 80, which is high for me. And my heart rate was like, it was like 90, 100. One time it got up to 140. So I don't know what the heck happened there, but my heart was racing. My blood pressure was high. It was just weird. And so I get the epidural and everything's fine. I'm not in pain. They up the Pitocin, and they checked me when I first got here, and I was a 4 centimeters, and I was 4 centimeters the week before too. So I thought I had changed, but I hadn't. I was the same. And so things were just going along, and then I started feeling, within like 45 minutes, I started feeling like a lot of pressure, and like I could start feeling the contraction. And so I thought things were happening because I could feel like a lot of pressure. And so I asked if they could check me again, because they were planning on upping the Pitocin a little more, and also checking me in like 30 minutes. But I said, can you go ahead and just check me right now? And the nurse did, and she's like, okay, you're 10 centimeters, like you're already complete. Like it happened really fast. And so they called my doctor. My doctor came in. Lucas called me, and he was like, should I start my next case? And I was like, no, like get up here. I think I'm having the baby soon. And so he was up here within minutes. And so everybody was in the room, the doctor, the nurses, Lucas, and then all of a sudden they couldn't find a heartbeat. And her heartbeat was like usually around 130, 120. It was like right around there all morning. But as I was having like harder contractions, her heart rate would drop, but then and there was also other women on this floor like having babies at the same time. And they all thought that this other lady who was like at 8 centimeters, they said when she came in, would have her baby like right away. And then all of a sudden I went from like 4 centimeters to like 10, and was ready to push pretty quick. And so everyone was in my room, and I was thankful for that, because all of a sudden they couldn't find her heartbeat. And then they found it, and they said, okay, it's 80. And then they're like, it's 60, it's 50. Like that's really crazy low for a baby, like for anyone. But my doctor was here, and he said, okay, you're complete, go ahead and push. And they also said you need to lay on your left side. And so I laid on my left side for a second, and they tried to find the heartbeat again. and they really couldn't. They got it. And so they set me up in the pushing position, and they said, your baby just didn't like the rapid deceleration because she was really high up, even this, like the morning of her birth yesterday. And so she went from being like really high up to like being born very quickly. And they thought, well, she just didn't like that rapid descend really fast. And so my doctor was really calm, and so was the nurse. She was really calm, but I was having like flashbacks to Benny's birth. And Benny's birth, it was, he had a prolapsed cord, so it turned emergent very fast. His cord came out first. I knew that wasn't going to happen with her because her head was the first thing out. It wasn't the cord. So I knew that it wasn't a prolapsed cord. But I was having like all those flashbacks of like Ben's birth where it turned really emergent quickly and I had to get him out very fast. It was the same kind of situation. And so I knew I had to get her out quickly. And so they said, push on the next contraction. Try to get 3 pushes in with each contraction. And so contraction happened. I pushed. She was coming down, but she wasn't out. The whole time I'm like, there's not a heartbeat, and I'm just like trying not to freak out. I'm trying to be so strong for her and just get her out. And I didn't know if it was a boy or girl, and the whole thing. And so then I had to wait for the next contraction, which took like 2 minutes. And so the next contraction happened, and I'm like, I have got to get this baby out. And so I pushed as hard as I can, and she came down enough for my doctor to say, oh, she has a cord around her neck. She has a nuchal. And he unwrapped it, and it was very tight. And then on the next push, I got her out. And, I expected it to be this big moment when we found out the gender. And she was born, and we saw that she was a girl, but it wasn't a big, exciting moment. It was more like, okay, she's a girl, but she's also not crying, and her color is terrible, and she's not like lively like my other babies. And so it wasn't like this big moment of rejoicing. It was just kind of like, okay, let's like assess the first thing first. Let's get her breathing. And so everyone was calm here. There was no like running around, and no one was scared. I was the only one that was scared, and probably Lucas, but my doctor suctioned her nose and mouth, and she was making noises. And then they set her on my chest, and she was opening her eyes, and I was like, okay, like, I'm so thankful that she's okay. But her color was still terrible, and she was kind of limp. She wasn't moving very much. And so the nurses took her just right there, right next to me, and they did this like suction thing on her back, and they gave her CPAP and oxygen. The other thing they did when I was in labor, they gave me oxygen because they said it would help her. So I was like pushing while I had oxygen on, which I've never had oxygen during labor before, and it was just weird. But I would do anything to help her, So I was like breathing oxygen in, and they were telling me to take slow breaths, and, I was doing everything they were telling me, but I also was trying to like keep myself from panicking and freaking out because I wanted to. And anyway, they gave her CPAP. They suctioned her back, like they did this like suction cup thing, and it made her cry, and it cleared her lungs. And in every cry, I was just so happy to hear that. And her color was coming back, and she was pink, and I knew she was going to be okay. And it just took a little bit, and then they said, what actually helps babies the most after a kind of not eventful birth like that is just skin to skin with their mom. And it was the coolest thing because they gave her to me, and we did skin to skin, and she like perked right up, and her color got better, her muscle tone got better. She nursed for an hour straight, which was crazy. She was so alert. It was just like she just had a hard time at the very beginning because of the cord around her neck, and also the rapid descend really fast. But I was so thankful that I was at the hospital when that happened, that everybody was here, because the cord would have been around her neck anyway. And also the cord probably would have been around her neck had I not been induced, and she would have been like just in my womb with this cord, and that would have been terrible. So everything happened perfectly, to just have her here and just have this beautiful baby and this outcome. And I'm just thankful that everything turned out just how it did. Same as Benny's birth when it was kind of crazy like that. And but I'm just thankful that everything played out and everything was just like just how it was. God is so good, and this baby is so sweet. I'm going to announce her name in just a minute, but I'll announce it here right now too. So this is Laura Kate, and she is named after many people actually. We have Lauras on both sides of our family. My great-grandmother on my mom's side, and then Lucas's cousin is a Laura. My sister has a middle name Laura, and we have a friend that has the name Laura, and it's just a special name. It's a beautiful name, Laura Kate. And we just keep looking at her and saying, I can't believe we have a girl. It's so crazy. And we're going to go home today. So she was born yesterday, like almost exactly 24 hours ago. And we're going to go home very soon. And the kids came last night to meet her, and they were so incredibly sweet. I'm just so excited for everybody to be together, and just like soak all of that in. Like, it's just such a special time. Like when you have a baby and you bring the baby home and just watch like the siblings with the baby, it's just like my favorite thing. So we're so thankful, so blessed. That was her birth story. It was crazy, and it was beautiful, and it was just one of those moments where I'm left just thanking God over and over and over again.